There is that age-old cliche, time flies when you're having fun. And in the case of Ignition, it couldn't be more true. Can you believe it's been just over 8 years that we've been doing this, reviewing cars? And looking back, we have driven plenty, but a standout review for me is actually one of the earlier ones we did back in 2009, when Nissan brought officially to South Africa the first GT-Rs. And the craziest thing is that I haven't driven a GT-R since. Nissan claims a lot of significant changes in their model year 17 GT-R. Let's find out.
GT-R fanboys will be quick to point out that the 2017 model is the most radically different iteration of the R35 series to date. But while the changes are numerous, the overall effect is hardly noticeable. Not that the GT-R is by any means subtle. The styling alterations are more visible at the front, where the reshaped bonnet is accentuated by a new V-motion grille, which Nissan tells us will eventually find its way onto the company's other products. The visual enhancements to the GT-R can't really be termed a facelift, for that would suggest that they were applied to pander to something as fickle as fashion. Instead, every tweaked line, crease, scoop and duct serve a purpose, whether it be to increase downforce or reduce drag.
So as you can see, lots of subtle changes, but the nips, tucks and tweaks do make a noticeable change. But the GT-R is always about driving, and back in 2009, I loved being behind the wheel. Hey man, the thing just plants, and for me, the handling, the feel of the steering wheel is also what is so supreme, because it really does give you all the information you need as a driver. Lindsay didn't enjoy that experience as much.
Okay, that's enough. Okay, that's enough. Slow down. No, stop.
This is the one that we really like. No, if you track the G monitor on here.
Honestly, I'm being serious.
It doesn't let go.
Honestly,
and we're staying within all the lines. Quite significant, the change to this car. GT-R to stay current, to be a performance-focused vehicle that has a broader appeal. It needs to obviously add some luxury and some creature comforts. And I think most significant is the quality of the drive as well. We know there are 3 drive modes, everything off race and then normal, but I've put the suspension into comfort mode, and what GT-R have actually done, Nissan have reworked the suspension ratings and made it a lot more compliant. The car is not choppy. They've also spent a lot of money and time on NVH, noise, vibration and harshness. Now, as a purist, you might like hearing the drivetrain when you're in the car. I know I do. I love the mechanical side of it. It's the beast awakening. But if you're driving to work, that can get a little bit annoying. And that has been a significant thing I noticed straight away, is how much quieter and better insulated the cabin is to all of that sound. Also cool, they've actually got a city feature. The GT-R now has all titanium exhaust, which is great for performance, but they put a city feature onto it, which essentially you can select the little button on the right of the wheel here, and it engages a valve bypass. So it's a lot quieter when you are firing the car. But the most significant of all changes on the all-new GT-R is this, where it all happens. It is amazing.
No matter where your gaze may fall or your fingertips happen to touch, the quality improvements made to the GT-R's cabin are both visible and tangible. Best of all is that everything you see here is standard, including those sumptuous tan leather seats.
Here we're talking about how luxurious and comfortable the new GT-R is to drive, how happy you would be to live with it on a day-to-day basis. Does that mean that the GT-R has got a muzzle on now, has lost that bark and that bite and that ferocious appeal that drivers always loved? Well, let's find out. Yes, it's the same 3.8 litre twin-turbo V6, but the performance has been improved. You're pushing out 408 kilowatts now and 632 newton meters. Listen to me, it is plenty. But I really enjoy it. I forgot just how good this 6-speed dual clutch is. It really is fantastic. Obviously, when you select it into manual mode, it is sequential manual. You've got to do the driving. Now that I've got in this mode, you can immediately hear the personality has changed in this car. The soundtrack is different. Talking about soundtrack, they're now piping the sound when you're in race mode into the cabin as well. So you getting more of that thrill, not only from the feedback through the steering wheel and through the seat of your pants, but also orally. You actually now get to hear your GT-R and you start bursting it through the corners. And I'll tell you what, this car, is flipping fast, still amazing. It's actually, I forgot just how dynamic this car is considering how big it is. Talking this on 2 tons, 4.7 meters, it's a big machine and it is so nimble. That all-wheel drive system works exceptionally well. Obviously multi-link suspension in the rear, really absorbing all those bumps, and that is what I love. When I start pushing this car and really getting it into the corners, I can feel exactly where the nose is at all times. The level of grip is flipping astounding. I suppose there are going to be some people out there that say, yeah, but you know what, let's be honest, the GT-R is doing all the driving for you. To an extent, yes it is. I think some of the guys that want to really get down to doing the driving themselves might have a bit of a problem with that, but for me it's about a supercar that's accessible to most people. Obviously I can choose all my little map settings to show my G-forces and my 0 to 100 time. So those, yes, maybe they're gimmicks, but I think when you're getting to a track day and you're pushing this car on, those are the things that are really going to be coming in quite handy. This remains a true GT-R. I think the best analogy would be, think of the Yakuza, the Japanese mafia. You wouldn't even know them if you walk past them in the streets because they're dressed in suits, they're looking super slick. But take off those suits and they are covered in tattoos. That sums up for me model year 17 GT-R, is that it's become a bit more business-like, a bit more luxurious, a bit more upmarket, way better to live with every single day. But strip off all of that exterior packaging, and underneath this is the heart of insane. Listen to that. Oh, so good.